Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week, okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's undefeated.
Still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac. Okay, I can
go
back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football. Because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on...
Mets fans for Yankees. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Later on today, for sure, we'll get to the epic collapse of the New York Mets and their $500 million payroll. Don't think that we won't. But it's a football Monday, baby. We're even going to do a little Ryder Cup a little bit later on. But again, it is a football Monday, and we did not get a lot of sleep last night. 40-40. I hate ties. They always say ties are like kissing your sister. I got a hot sister. I never kiss her, in case you start rumors out there. But yeah, it's this weird thing. Like the game ends last night, and I don't know to be happy or not happy. Like, did the Cowboys treat it as a W, or are the Packers upset that they couldn't beat the Dallas Cowboys? Cowboys had a lead late. Are they upset? And that's the problem with ties. Sporting events should never end in a tie. But if you're going to blame somebody for it ending in a tie last night, and I know this is a very unique thought. I have not heard anyone or seen anyone come up with this, and it makes sense to me because it's my thought, obviously. By the way, Tyrone Johnson here as always. Here's the thing. 3rd and 14, right? Green Bay Packers have the ball down by 3 towards the end of overtime. There's a couple seconds left. And Jordan Love decides, let me take my sweet-ass time to look around the field, left to right, right to left, up, down, up, with no regard at all for the fact that the clock is going to run out. The game clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. I can't believe it. This would be like a Mike McCarthy type of late game collapse, right?
Yep.
And then he throws the pass into the end zone above everybody's head, incomplete pass, and we immediately go to the game clock. And on the game clock, it says 1 second left.
Yeah.
Now, Tyrone, I'll ask you this obvious question, and I'm asking you a question I know you know the answer to. Where was last night's game played?
It was in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Yes.
Thus, the Dallas Cowboys were the home team last night. This would have been a season-altering win, in my opinion, for the Dallas Cowboys, and a season-altering loss for the Green Bay Packers. Cowboys will have scored, and they did, 40 points in 2 of their 4 games this year, meaning that offense is pretty damn good, and there was no CeeDee Lamb on the field last night.
Right.
But who pays the clock operator?
It should be Jerry.
Home team, right?
Home team, yeah. Jerry cuts those checks.
You're telling me that the Dallas Cowboy clock operator, with a chance to guarantee the Cowboys the W last night, actually took his fat finger and pushed the stop button with 1 second left?
Yeah, that's right.
Because the ball got tipped and then out of the end zone, right?
Right.
So if you let that bad boy go just one more second, and we don't even know tenths of seconds with NFL clocks, which I think they should put in to the NFL at some point. You're telling me that the clock operator couldn't have just waited a millisecond to push his fat sausage finger on the stop button and give the Dallas Cowboys the win? And the whole night, I couldn't sleep last night because I'm saying to myself, why do we pay the clock operator if he's not going to do us the simple service of not pushing stop? That being said, I don't know what you make out of the game. I really don't. The Dallas Cowboys defense is awful. The Green Bay Packers defense was awful. It was a great shootout in the second half. And for a Cowboy team that looked dead in the water for the first, 25 minutes of the game, I am shocked that they dropped the 40 burger, and even more shocked that they actually tied that game. I just don't know what to make of it. I don't know what the Cowboys are right now. I don't know what the Packers are. I can tell you this, they're not Super Bowl champions right now because in the NFC, there's only one team that is. And in the AFC, there are multiple teams that are. In the NFC, it's your Philadelphia Eagles. I learned it again on Sunday. I learned it again. Because the Philadelphia Eagles offense, once again, terrible. Let's be fair about it. Not good. And they still scored 30 points in the game and the win against Tampa. And I double-checked this stat.
Yeah.
Because I'm shocked by this stat. The Philadelphia Eagles with Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you had to guess how many passes did the Eagles complete in the second half, what would your guess have been?
My guess would have been, 3-4.
3 or 4.
That would have been the guess.
Which would be embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
That'd be like a triple option team that only throws the ball 5 times a game. I've never seen this in the modern era of the NFL, but the undefeated 4-0 Birds, the Eagles as you like to call them,
that's right,
did not complete a single pass in the second half of their 30-point, that was their output, of their win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
How do you go on the road and not complete a single second half pass and win a football game against an undefeated football team? I don't understand how that's possible. I don't. But the Eagles have something that most teams in the league don't have. It's an intangible thing, all right? It's kind of like, the street term might be juice. I think the kids call it aura today.
Aura,
right?
Yeah, that's right.
The Eagles have aura, meaning this. I'll define it for you older people like myself, because I got kids at home, they tell me these things. The Eagles know how to win. Period, stop. The Eagles, more than any other team in football today, Kansas City's close, the Eagles just know how to win. It doesn't matter how they do it. They just do it time and time and time again, to the point where if you're an anti-Eagle guy, frankly, it's annoying. Because if I told you that a team was going to go on the road and not complete a single pass in the second half against an undefeated football team, by default, we would all say, that's a loss.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And yet the Eagles, somehow, the bastards in Philadelphia, the Eagles just keep figuring out how to win. But there is a team, and I want to focus, and that's not time-wise what I'm looking at.
You got plenty of time. You got more than three minutes. You got a lot of time.
There is a team that we should all be very concerned about. And I guess there's 2 of those teams. Number one, and I just to prove to you I am always honest, I've never lied to an audience in 34 years. I never will. I'm sorry, Kansas City. You're back. I thought you were dead and gone. I thought at 0-2 going on the road to New York, that was a possible loss. You won that game. Okay, not that big a deal. You played Russell Wilson and the Giants with no offense, but you got that win. All good. Good for you on the road. And then you come back home, and I thought it was going to be the game of the week. I was excited for it. I had the TV going. You got all these things happening. I wanted to see if the Mets are going to collapse. Are the Yankees going to steal the division? The Ryder Cup, the Americans are coming back. And the only thing I really wanted to watch was 425 yesterday. This was going to be, for my money, the coronation of the Kansas City Chiefs' demise and the coronation that the Ravens are now what I thought they were, and that is the best team in the AFC. And very first drive of the game, Baltimore gets the rock after Kansas City defers. And what does Baltimore do? A beautiful drive. Bing, bang, right down the field. Touchdown, Baltimore. 7-0 out of the gate. But here comes Kansas City, and they match them. And from that moment on, after Kansas City tied it at 7-7, it was like the Baltimore Ravens forgot how to play football. They were favored in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And when the dust settles, and we'll get much more into this in depth after the first break, we now have a reality on our hands. And that reality for guys like me who are rooting for the Chiefs' demise is that the Kansas City Chiefs are alive and well. They are like Frankenstein. They have woken up from the stupor, and they are now marching into cities across America, wreaking havoc, just like Frankenstein. I just told you who it was.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein's awoken.
He went to one town.
And on the or it's like Godzilla.
Now you're talking
in those
about
miniature model towns that were supposed to be China
all
or
of
Japan.
those. Yeah, he destroys all of those.
Oh, yeah.
Lights them on fire.
Yeah.
The whole shebang.
Loved it. The fact that we bought into that being a real dinosaur was crazy to me. But it was 1976. We didn't know any better. And then the flip side, of course, is that the Baltimore Ravens are done. It's a wrap. They're frauds. And it starts with John Harbaugh. And I think it's time in Baltimore. We will get into this in depth after a very quick 2-minute break. I think we have to come to reality that John Harbaugh's got to go. That the Baltimore Ravens have wasted prime Lamar Jackson years with nothing at all to show for it. The Chiefs are back. The Ravens are dead, the Mets collapsed, and golf fans are prissies. We'll get into all of it right after this on the Craig Carton Show. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when the kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. You can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'd sit in my living room. All right, how's everybody doing? I was just telling the guys that I was the first in the country to report that Malik Neighbors had a torn ACL. I didn't do it publicly. I just told my kids in the living room watching the game, that's a torn ACL. By the way, reminder, the show is also available as a podcast. That's right. So if you want more of me in your ear, and we know you do, subscribe to the Craig Carton Show on Apple, Spotify, or, of course, wherever else you get your podcasts. There's also going to be exclusive podcast-only content in the next few weeks. You're not going to want to miss that. And make sure to tell your friends. The Craig Carton Show is now a podcast as well. I think it probably already was, but I just found out about it today, so they told me to promote it. So there you go. So now you can go back and listen to old episodes as well. The Ravens have a problem, folks. The Ravens are 1-3. Now, division-wise, they're going to be fine because the division stinks.
Yeah.
Steelers steal a W in Ireland against the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, they're 3-1. I'll never sleep on Mike Tomlin team. They are 3-1. They're all good for them. You obviously know Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and the Cleveland Browns have no offense. So I'm not going to be totally shocked if the Ravens get back into it. But we have to, at some point, come to terms with the reality that the Ravens never change. They beat up on bad teams. Mm-hmm. They'll win a couple games against good teams, but the Buffalo Bills own them in the Lamar Jackson era, and the Kansas City Chiefs own them as well. They have to refer to Kansas City as their daddy now because they were favored in yesterday's game. And I know the Ravens are now all banged up. They had like 6 starters on defense that either didn't play at all or got hurt during the game and weren't able to play. And that's fine. And it's a built-in excuse that you can always use. The Lions had it last year. But you know what the Lions did? They had the number 1 seed, and they still went to the playoffs with a banged-up defense. And at some point, I don't willy-nilly say fire this guy, fire that guy. It's not what I'm about. I never have been. But on occasion, you can ask the question, why not fire a certain guy? Why do certain guys just get to keep coming back when the outcome never changes? So if you guys can bring up for me, we have a stat to show you. John Harbaugh. Yeah. Just the last 5 years, John Harbaugh with a prime, in his prime, Lamar Jackson, multiple MVP awards, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you look at it, that's not good enough. And we missed the playoffs in 21, wild card in 22, AFC Championship game loss at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you see, of course, 24, the divisional round loss, and then this year off to a 1-3 start. I'm not telling you that they're not going to make the playoffs. There's too much talent there for me to say that before we officially hit October. So I'm not going to say it yet. But I am going to tell you that there's something wrong with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
You only ran Derrick Henry 8 times yesterday, and I understand not running him in the second half as much because you're down by multiple scores, but you gave up on him in the first half when it was still a close game. That doesn't make sense. That's multiple offensive coordinators who don't know how to run the ball in Baltimore. But you've got a rock star quarterback. You've got a rock star two-headed tight end situation. You've got a rock star wide receiver in Zay Flowers. Your defense stinks. Going into last night's game, they were the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. I think they're 31st now because the Cowboys became 32nd, right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, fair enough. So you're the worst defense in the AFC. That's a problem. And when you go to Kansas City and you're the favorite, and there's blood in the water because Kansas City's sitting at 1-2, and their offense has shown no signs of life at all. And then you find out Xavier Worthy's coming back. You might want to cover Xavier Worthy because he's a very good wide receiver and fast as heck, right?
Yeah.
And the Baltimore Ravens look completely unprepared against Kansas City. And to give Kansas City credit, that looked like the old school Kansas City Chiefs football. That was Patrick Mahomes throwing 4 touchdowns in his prime. Kelsey looked better. Worthy, of course, great. Hollywood Brown, fantastic. The new kid, the running back, I never heard of, Smith, also very good. They ran the ball more than they ever run the ball. And it was almost like, oh, you know what's going to save our season if we're Kansas City? Thank God Baltimore's coming to town. Because Kansas City did to Baltimore what they always do to Baltimore. They're 6-1 now against the Baltimore Ravens in the Mahomes era. That's dominance. And guys like me, and I own it, went into this game rooting for Baltimore, hoping for the Kansas City Chiefs demise, and didn't want to see what we all have to see because it's always there. It's like the air we breathe. And that is that under John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens will never be better than the Kansas City Chiefs.
No,
Facts.
that is a fact. And it's just crazy that Andy Reid
That's where he came from. He's from the Andy Reid coaching tree. And once again, the teacher is schooling the student, and you would think at this point he'd figure out a way. He's got nothing. He's got no answer.
He's got nothing. There's no answers. And I know John Harbaugh is the all-time winningest coach in Baltimore history, and they do have that one Super Bowl. Yeah. All that, it's all good. It's all good. You could even debate if he's a Hall of Fame coach in the history of the NFL, and I wouldn't hate on you for that. But when it comes down to big games that you got to win against the Kansas City Chiefs own the Baltimore Ravens. And at some point, if we are going to waste the prime years of Lamar Jackson's career, then you better go find me a new coach.
Yeah.
And again, he's not getting fired. I understand that. And I'm not suggesting he's suddenly incompetent or doesn't know what he's doing. But there's got to come a time when you flip the narrative and you change the script. And I'm the biggest anti-Chiefs guy there is on the planet. I am. And so bring all the noise. I get it. I deserve it. But again, I got suckered.
Yeah.
I got suckered going into that game that the Ravens are favored. The Ravens, they don't want to go to 1-3 either.
They should have been desperate.
There's blood in the water. Yeah. Biggest home game in the Mahomes era, because if they go to 1-3, they're in trouble because of what the Chargers got off to their hot start at 3-0, not knowing that the Chargers were going to lose to the Giants and bring everybody right back to the pack, which is what happened. But if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, at what point do you say to the ownership there, we need somebody new? We've got a rock star MVP candidate every single year in our quarterback, and for some reason, our coaches cannot figure out how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills. And when you wake up today, the Chiefs feel pretty good about themselves at 2-2. The Buffalo Bills, only undefeated team in the AFC at 4-0 with a ho-hum win against the Saints. And where are the Ravens? Super Bowl favorites? 1-3. 1-3. Maybe it's time to consider how much longer Harbaugh stays in Baltimore.
So let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins' head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right. It's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think it's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away, so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say the caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
I'm starting to think that the NFL hates us. I am. I'm starting to think that the NFL, not just when I say us, Jet fans, although that's possible. We played the Dolphins tonight at 7:15. I'm starting to feel like Roger Goodell in the NFL hates Americans. It's weird. Weird.
What do you mean? They do the whole thing before the games, the huge flag, big flag on earth.
Well, I don't know, because it's almost like I'm a compulsive gambler, so that makes me an addict, right? And I own that, and it's a part of who I am, and I try to pay my story forward to help other people who have gambling problems, 24/7, 365, and I get great satisfaction out of helping other people. But I'm an addict, right? You didn't know, but you're an addict as well. As football fans, we're addicts.
Yes.
And the NFL treats us like addicts.
Oh yeah.
And what I mean by that is, you know what? You only want to watch games that are played on American soil? We'll show you. We'll play games in Ireland and London and Brazil and all these and Mexico and all these other countries, right?
None of us asked for it.
Because you guys are going to bitch and moan about it. But like the dude copping crack rock on the corner, you're not going to be able to help yourself, and you're going to go get the drug. The drug in this case is the NFL. We're NFL addicts, right?
You're absolutely
right. And then the NFL's like, oh, you only like NFL on network TV? We're going to put it on streaming services that you have to pay for. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to bitch and moan about it. And then what are you going to do after you bitch and moan? You're going to sign up for those services because you can't miss any NFL action. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a channel that only shows you highlights of games in action. I'm going to give that to you commercial free, and you're going to love it. And once you get you hooked on that product, we're going to throw commercials into the mix, and you're going to bitch and moan about it. And then what are you going to do? You're going to buy the crack rock because you're an addict. We're NFL addicts, and the NFL treats us like addicts because they know what we are. We are the drug user who cannot say no. And the NFL treats us as such. And there was never more on display than yesterday's Fugazi announcement at halftime of the Packer-Cowboy game on NBC when they put out who the halftime show was going to be for this year's Super Bowl. Roger Goodell hates America. The NFL hates America. Maybe it's the White House. I don't know. Maybe they're just anti-Trump guys. But they announced yesterday that Bad Bunny, who's a Puerto Rican rapper / singer, who globally is one of the biggest, if not the biggest stars on the planet. So I'm not suggesting they're not bringing a guy in who's got a huge following. He does. All of his songs are Spanish language. So, again, I like a lot of that music. I can't understand a lot of it.
Understand any
but
of
I got no issue with Spanish language anything, right? But you just agreed to put Bad Bunny on the largest stage any musician can ever possibly have, and that is, of course, NFL halftime Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
Were you aware, because I wasn't at the time, I've now read about it, that Bad Bunny refuses to play or to tour in the continental United States?
Yes.
Were you aware of that?
I mean, was he aware?
I don't think so. So you've now decided to bring on a performer for the Super Bowl halftime who has openly vowed to never perform for an American audience, or at least in the continental United States. He is a devout anti-Trumpist. He's welcome to be that. He's an anti-ICE guy. He's welcome to be that. But he refuses to perform on American soil. And the NFL thought of all the amazingly talented performers that are out there. We floated Adele's name last week. And Taylor Swift apparently might have been in the mix. And any of the great rappers that are out there. Or the great rock bands. Or how about we did a little country music thing. Tons of great country music artists. Zach Bryan just sold out Michigan Stadium. It's the largest ticketed concert in the history of our country. 120,000 people. So you know there's a huge audience for it.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And what's more American than country music or old school rock music, right?
Right.
But the NFL, and Jay-Z is part of it because Jay-Z's group and Rock Nation, they have the exclusive contract with the NFL to book the halftime show, which is why my dear friend, Lil Wayne, got screwed last year in New Orleans, and they went to Kendrick Lamar. That was all Jay-Z's doing, and they screwed New Orleans' own Lil Wayne, who deserved to do that halftime show. But now you come back, and you decide to put a guy, again, huge star. Huge star. My kids love him. All right? I only know one or two of his songs, but I'm certainly aware of who he is. He was in Happy Gilmore too.
He was.
All right? He was the caddy.
Played a caddy.
Right.
But he's a funny, seems like a funny guy.
But he refuses to perform on American soil. And that's what the NFL thought was the best artist to choose to be the halftime show at the Super Bowl?
Well, are you?
I think they hate America.
Are you still going to watch?
Am I going to watch the halftime show?
No, Super Bowl.
It's on TV. You got to watch it. I'm an addict. I keep telling you that.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. You're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in.
Right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
MVP hopes, as far as my eyes can see, out of here. No way. No way. Not with what I'm seeing around this league right now. Josh Allen should be in front of him. He is. Herbert should be in front of him. He's not just yet. Jalen Hurts should be in front of Lamar Jackson. People may not want to hear that, but it's true. Jordan Love is in front of Lamar Jackson. That's a pump the brakes special. Come on now.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, we're now a podcast as well. YouTube, it airs at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And, of course, on Spotify and Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Yeah. We are up and running there, so definitely give us a shout. Subscribe, download it, and tell all your friends about it. I'm going to play a little game with you, Tyrone, okay?
All right.
I'm going to give you a quarterback stat. I'm going to make it up. I'm going to pull it out of thin air, bring it right down. And I want you to tell me what kind of quarterback you think this is, okay? So let me make up numbers. Let's say I've got a quarterback, starting quarterback, okay? Starts the game, finishes the game.
All right.
Who goes, I don't know, let's say 13 for 20.
Okay.
111 yards.
Okay.
13 for 20, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown. Okay?
All right.
Just give me in your fandom, in your expertise as a football fan, would you say that's Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame? How would you classify a 13 for 20, $111 game?
Game manager.
Game manager, okay.
Game manager.
Is that a guy that's going to lead a team to a Super Bowl?
Most times, no.
Okay, is that a guy that you would say is a franchise quarterback, completed 13 passes?
No.
No. Okay, this is an example of how people react to just a teeny bit of goodness when they've been beaten down for so long.
Okay.
All right? Because right now, here in New York City, Jets played it out against the Dolphins, so keep them to the side. The New York Giants got off the schneid yesterday. Pardon me. I was drinking LaCroix again. Carbonation. Probably shouldn't do that during and before a show, but I did. Black raspberry, by the way. All right, so the Giants playing the Chargers yesterday. Chargers come in undefeated.
Yep.
Chance to go to 4-0. They're favored by just less than a touchdown. And the New York Giants announced it's the very beginning of the Jackson Dart era.
Yep.
All right? Giants win the game. Looked like they were going to give it away in the fourth quarter, make a couple big defensive stands, but the Giants win the game, and that's with losing their best player, Malik Neighbors, to an unfortunate torn ACL going up for an errant pass from Jackson Dart. After the game, when the Giants win the game by 3 and get their first win of the season, they have the Saints coming up next week.
Yeah.
So 2-3 is a real possibility right now.
It is.
For the New York Giants, okay? The head coach, Brian Daboll, starts like making out with Jackson Dart, goes forehead to forehead with him, and it's the most animated I've seen him since maybe his first year as the head coach of the New York Giants. Giants fans, like having a parade for Jackson Dart and the offense. Experts on every network you could think of are talking about what a great change Jackson Dart is for the New York Giants. Now, I'll say this before I get to his numbers. The intangibles do mean something. He's a young, brash kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't slide feet first.
No.
He likes to take contact. He's a rah-rah type kid. And for a beleaguered franchise, sometimes that becomes more important than play itself. When you go from an aloof dude like Russell Wilson, that fan bases never truly rally around because he doesn't seem like the guy you want to have a beer with, right?
Yeah.
And you go from that to the rah-rah frat kid who looks like a guy you want to do, shots with, all of a sudden perception can change a little bit. So the New York Giants get their first win. Good for them. Jackson Dart is being hailed now as the savior of the Giants franchise, and everyone's applauding the Giants for drafting him. They moved up a couple spots to get him, and for now turning over the franchise to Jackson Dart. Seems like a great kid. His mom was in the building yesterday. It's a great story. But now if we peel away all the layers of the euphoria that the Giants get an improbable win, that Jackson Dart has captivated the Giants fan base, and he's got a great personality, and he runs for a touchdown, and the team just looked like he was more competent on offense. His numbers yesterday were 13 for 20, 111 yards. Why are we celebrating that? Why are we talking about Jackson like he's the second coming of Patrick Mahomes? Or, pick your favorite quarterback, you'll get the point. And that's what happens when a franchise is so beleaguered and so beaten down. If you give fans, because at our heart, we're just blue-collar people who want our team to win, and we vest our emotions and our finances and our lives into the outcome of your performance. And when you go a decade with lousy football, when you have a losing record in your own stadium since the thing was built, all we ever asked for was 13 for 20, 111 yards. And the touchdown pass itself, let's be honest, it was a nearly botched shovel pass to a backup tight end that none of us had ever heard of. But they won the game. And the sideline looked alive. And the coaching staff looked alive. And all of a sudden, everyone's blood pressure was amped up a little bit. And the Giants scored 3 touchdowns in a game for the first time. And, I know they scored 40 again against the Cowboys.
Outside of that one game,
but, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, and I watched every play of the game. I live in New Jersey. I watch the Giants game. It's on TV, right? And it's local.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, I'm glad they won. Good for them. It stops all the Brian Daboll's going to be fired, like we talked about here on Friday, off the Pat Leonard report, that there's now a schism between the general manager, Joe Schoen, and the coaching staff, Brian Daboll, maybe even the owner, John Mara. But we're celebrating 13 for 20, 111 yards. They didn't trust him to throw the football inside the 10-yard line.
No.
The only pass he completed inside the 10 was a shovel pass. It wasn't even a real pass. So they didn't trust him to throw the ball into the end zone when they had 1st and goal from the 3. They didn't, and he didn't. And Giant fans, if you listen to them today and you engage with them today, Giants fans are like, we found our savior. Like, we finally have a competent quarterback. Like, even our producer Ethan downstairs is like, yeah, Jackson Dart. Yeah. And I'm like, if you take the situation off the story for a second, which is why I started the way I did.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a starting quarterback in the NFL who completed 13 passes, only attempted 20, meaning, again, they did not trust him to throw the ball 30 times in the game. And to be fair, part of it is that their defense had the 2 picks, which set them up deep in Charger territory. So, running the ball made sense to a certain point, of course, right? But you're celebrating 13 for 20. Like, in what world has that ever been acceptable for a football fan? That we're now going to celebrate and talk about having a savior for a guy that completed 13 passes for 100 yards. It wasn't great.
It was not great.
And I watched the whole game. Jackson Dart was better running the football than throwing the football.
That's a concern,
and I want to
too.
say this. Seems like a great kid. Love the rah-rah nature of him being there.
Did you like the touchdown dance?
I love the touchdown dance.
Yeah.
Like, I love the personality. And yes, he's a major kind of refreshing change from what Russell Wilson is and was.
Yeah.
So I get all that stuff. But slow your roll. Before you start talking about him like he's the second coming of Phil Simms or Eli Manning in Giants history, my man completed 13 passes for 100 yards in a passing league.
He did.
Right?
And he got sacked 5 times. That's another thing to watch. He took a lot of hits yesterday.
Now, he's got to learn how to take less hits. That's part of growing up, and that's his personality. And look, that also endears him to a fan base. He wants the extra yard. He's going to fight for the extra yard. There's so much good there. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on it, but it ain't like the kid showed up and went 25 for 32 for 380 and 5 tutties.
Right.
He didn't. They didn't trust him to throw the ball that much. I get that. Rookie quarterback, first game. Let's be chill with him. But Giants fans, has it really been that bad that you're celebrating 13 for 20 for $111? And I think I know the answer. Sadly, the answer is yes. It has been that bad.
It has been that bad.
Yeah.
It has.
Welcome to my world as a Jet fan.
Yeah.
I would sign up for 13 for 20.
You'd love that.
111.
If you get that tonight, you sign for it right now if you get that for tonight's game.
That would be a great game. I'm here for all of it. But it's so pathetic that the Giants are in that spot. We got much more coming up, a little Ryder Cup, a little baseball as well, here on the Craig Carton Show. And one of the major collapses you have ever witnessed from a $500 million team in baseball history. Don't touch it. Hang on.
Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week,
They're ranked.
Okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's
Devin Leary
undefeated.
still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac.
okay,
I can go back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football. Because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here as well. He's got some picks on. There's 2 games tonight, by the way.
2 games tonight.
Which I'm another example of the NFL hating us.
I mean, and they overlap. They overlap.
I know. 7:15, 8:20. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Dolphins, Jets first. You get the Broncos and the Bengals the late game, but they will be playing at the same time because the NFL hates us. Well, they know. They know. They know we're going to say yes. We'll figure out a way to watch. A couple news and notes for you. Let me start off Ryder Cup. We embarrassed ourselves at the Ryder Cup.
Yep.
I'm not a huge golf guy. I watch 2 tournaments a year, Masters, U.S. Open, or any event that Tiger's playing in. That's just how I am. I did have a bit of an interest because people are like, it's going to be the greatest thing of all time. It wasn't. We embarrassed ourselves on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And yesterday, all of a sudden, we're going to make it close. But there's a weird rule about if you pull up lame before a tournament,
it's half.
If you can't play, you get half a point.
Get half a point.
How about the fact is you lost because you're disqualified,
or have to have a replacement player play again?
Yeah.
Like
so
that.
they abuse the system. But the storyline out of this is twofold. One, Europeans beat us down on our own soil. Yeah. They did. We got to own it. Which is why if I said since Michael Jordan was there, he ought to call up Barkley, Malone, and Ewing and get the gang together and Larry Bird and go kick some European ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently that's not allowed to do that.
Not in golf.
But the other storyline is that the New York golf fan were really rude to Rory McIlroy and they use expletives towards him. F you this, F you that. Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen? Like you have 60,000 drunk New Yorkers who are there from 5 in the morning to 7 p.m. who dropped a house mortgage on a ticket to watch the United States team miss every putt that they could possibly miss. And you think someone's not going to get pissed off and curse people out? Wah! The golf fan wasn't civil. Wah! Golf should be better than this. Shut up. Come on now.
Now, how'd you feel about how Rory responded? A lot of people, I liked how Rory responded.
Rory responded the way Eddie was to respond. You don't like it, F you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes the big shot within 4 feet of the cup.
Now, he lost the singles match on 18, so right back at you. But that dude was money good when the tournament was in the balance.
Yeah.
And I've got no problem with him cursing us out. We deserved it. But don't listen. If you're going to have an event in New York, where people are drinking from 5 in the morning to 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we're embarrassing ourselves. Don't tell me all of a sudden you got virgin ears. Oh, I can't believe that the American fan was so rude to the Europeans. That's what this is about. You think the European fans are nice to our guys when we play in Europe? Oh, I can't believe that golf's supposed to be a hybrid sport. We're supposed to show more class than this. F you. Show more class. No. At what point in our history as a country, and I'm included in this, at what point have we ever been classy as fans?
We're not. No, never.
Never. We're not classy.
We show more ass than class.
Yes.
That's part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe the American fans actually uttered such profanity. I can. Dude, I dropped $750 on a ticket and you suck, you're going to hear it. I can promise you that. Come on now. How do you think the New York fan reacted to the last game of the baseball season yesterday? Let me just set the stage for you. The New York Mets, who had the best record in baseball, 60 games in, have one of the worst records in baseball over the last 110 games, right?
Fifth worst.
Fifth worst, thank you.
Since that high.
So it all came down to yesterday. The New York Mets on the road against a Marlins team that didn't win 80 games this year. All right? The Cincinnati Reds are playing the Milwaukee Brewers, the best team, really wire to wire in baseball, okay? So here's what the Mets had going for them. If the Milwaukee Brewers can beat the Cincinnati Reds, okay, they're a better team now. Probably not playing all their starters, but still a better team. And the New York Mets can beat the lowly Miami Marlins, a team that gets no fan base and did not win 80 games this year. The New York Mets sneak into the playoffs, and then everybody starts fresh. They would have gone to L.A. to play the Dodgers, best of 3 in L.A., all 3 games, right? The New York Mets gave you a goose egg, a 0 spot. They have a $500 million payroll when you add the tax on to all the salaries they have. They stole Juan Soto from the New York Yankees. They're no longer the little brothers, or so they claimed. And when the dust settled, They couldn't beat the freaking Miami Marlins, lost 2 out of 3 down in Florida this weekend with the playoffs sitting there on a silver platter. They didn't score a single run against the Marlins, a minor league baseball team with a chance to go to the postseason and God knows what, maybe win a World Series, right?
Yeah.
Right? And they're gutless. And they've got no fire. And if you think people were cursing the golfers at Bethpage Black, what do you think Met fans were doing at the TV yesterday? Ooh. Or the Met fans that live in Florida or went to Florida trying to watch the coronation of a Met wildcard appearance? An embarrassment. And it reminded me very much of when the Brooklyn Nets got Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Kevin Durant and the few Net fans that live out there were trying to convince us that the Brooklyn Nets now own New York and the New York Knicks have to take a back seat to the Brooklyn Nets. And we were like, uh-oh, what if they're right? New Yorker magazine did a whole piece on how the Knicks are the second story in town. And I sat there on my microphone saying that day will never happen. The Knicks will always own New York. Screw you, Brooklyn Nets. Well, the New York Mets just proved the same thing. Because for all the crap you want to say about the New York Yankees losing Soto and the Big Brother thing no longer exists, the New York Yankees ended the season with the best record in the American League. They were tied with Toronto. They lost the tiebreaker, which is why they host the Boston Red Sox starting tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and then again on Wednesday at 6 o'clock at Yankee Stadium. But they were tied with Toronto for the best record in the American League without Juan Soto. The New York Mets, who stole Juan Soto with an $800 million contract and a luxury suite for his family for free, something the Yankees wouldn't give him, which was the final nail in the coffin to have him go to the Mets and not stay with the Yankees, they won 83 games. They embarrassed themselves and did not make the playoffs in an expanded playoff. The New York Mets are on the outside looking in. New York will always be a Yankee town. And that's just something you're going to have to never forget, which is why I started a church back in 2009. It's my version of Scientology. And it goes like this. Mets fans for Yankees. And if you're a Met fan and you want to be a good New Yorker, you jump on the wagon and you start rooting for the New York Yankees to make a run back to the World Series. That's what you're going to do.
Come on.
More NFL football coming up, plus a pick on tonight's game from Tyrone right after this.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when the kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3 games to 1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. And you can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone's got some picks coming up in just a second. I just want real quick, a thing that's kind of gone viral from yesterday. Bears and Raiders comes down to Raiders trying to make a field goal to win the game as time expires. Bears block the kick. More block kicks this year than I could ever remember. So final score 25-24. But at halftime it was 14-9. Raiders were winning. And I forget the gal's last name. Her first name's Aditi.
Aditi, yeah.
And I can't pronounce her last name. My apologies on that. She grabs Ben Johnson as they're coming back out of the tunnel for the halftime interview.
Yeah.
These are typically a complete waste of time because the reporters stink. It's usually like, "Hi, what do you think about the first half?" Or "What do you tell your guys?" Or, "Was it good to score there?" Like this, come on, like stupid stuff. This gal, I thought, did a great job.
I agree.
And I give Ben Johnson credit also for how he answered. But let me just play it for you real quick because it's gone viral for, I think, the wrong reason. Here's Aditi at halftime. Go ahead.
Your offense has struggled to take advantage of those takeaways.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you tell them to get things going?
That it wasn't our brand of football. We're capable of a lot more, and so we're hitting the reset button here at halftime, and we're going to come back and establish our identity here in the second half.
You need to change what you're doing.
I don't know. You think so?
Awesome.
Just fine.
So she basically challenged him, you need to change what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when he said back to her, asked her the question, she was a little flustered and didn't know how to answer it, and they cut away from it. But everyone's yelling and screaming at her line of questioning. And they're saying how, Ben Johnson just showed great restraint there in not telling her to F off.
Did he?
And I'm like, well, time out. She asked him what he told the guys in the locker room. Somewhat generic, but okay. You're down 14-9 against a one-win Raider team, and you're coming off a big win last week. That's a fair question.
I thought so.
It's somewhat generic, but fair. And he gave, I thought, a good answer. We got to play to our identity. Right. He gave a thoughtful answer.
He did.
Which is something a lot of coaches don't do. But to her credit, her follow-up was on point. Her follow-up was, so you're basically saying you got to change what you did in the first half. Right?
Right.
Why is that a problem? Right? I'd rather have someone actually challenge your coach and say that, as she did. And I've never heard of her before, so I don't know her background at all. But good for her. That's a great follow-up from a reporter in that spot when you've got maybe 20 seconds max talking to a coach. And I don't think he showed any restraint at all. I thought he was good too.
I agree.
Because he challenged her question. And then, of course, he had to go his way and she goes her way. But people that are saying that she overstepped her bounds, absolutely not. She's not there to kiss the coach's ass.
Right.
She's a reporter. She's there to ask a poignant question that maybe for us as viewers, we get a little something out of what took place in the locker room. They're usually worthless interviews. The fact that we even do them, I think, is stupid. It usually brings nothing at all to the game.
Just tradition.
I thought she did a great job.
I've figured it out. She used to work for the Wall Street Journal, so she has some journalistic background.
Yeah, good for
so she was
her.
trying to get something out of nothing.
Again, I never heard of her. That doesn't mean anything. I thought she did a great job there. And people that are suggesting that she was offensive or out of line, the same people complaining that a couple of New Yorkers who were drunk cursed at Rory McIlroy. Like, we're all so sensitive about everything. And I hope she continues to ask pressing questions. I like to get away from the generic, how do you feel? That kind of stuff. I don't know. I just won a championship. How do you think I feel?
Right.
Anyway, Tyrone had a great weekend. As did I, by the way. I don't bet or gamble, but I sat here and told you that Penn State were a bunch of frauds.
You did.
And did not deserve to be the third-ranked team in the country. And what'd they do on whiteout night? Oh, it's such a scam anyway. Whiteout night, in double overtime, you throw a bad interception and lose at home to Oregon.
Future number one overall pick. Future number one overall pick.
Bunch of frauds. You're 4-21 against top 10 teams. Penn State will never win a national title ever again. So I got that one. I nailed that one. Also told you Ole Miss was better than LSU and that they would win that game. I'm just on fire. It's what I do. And I don't even do it. But Tyrone does do it. And he was 3-0.
3-0
so
over the
great
weekend.
job.
Thank
of course,
you,
he
sir.
picked Ohio State over a high school team, but don't let that bother you.
Watch
That's
to be
all
ranked in
good.
2 weeks. You'll
We
see.
got 2 games tonight. You picking them or not?
Yes. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at the 3-0.
8-1. I'm rolling.
By the way, you notice he only picks favorites.
Yes,
Go
so
ahead.
far. All right, the first game.
And by the way,
Let's
if the Colt wide receiver didn't fumble the ball trying to celebrate it into the end zone, you would have lost that Rams bet.
If your
But go
uncle
ahead.
had pedals, he'd be a bicycle.
And if Miami had balls, should be my uncle.
Tonight, I like Miami against the Jets at home minus the 2.5. But I also, in the second game, I like Cincinnati to cover the 7.5 against Denver.
No quarterback, though, right?
Right.
After Browning embarrassed himself last week, you're sticking with the Bengals getting wood. Huh?
These are not great games. I don't want people. I don't love these games, but that's what I like. I like the Dolphins. I like the Bengals in the games tonight.
I'll be honest. These are games, unless you have like a fandom for any one of these four teams.
I agree.
So you always bet with your fandom, or maybe you're a hedge better. You bet against your team. So either way, you get a little joy in your life. These are not games you should wager.
Stay away.
And if you lost yesterday or last night, don't bet today trying to catch up. That's a fool's way to try to make money. Appreciate you joining us. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify now as well. And again later today right here on SportsGrid. Have a great day.